Hey, what's up everybody? So one of my favorite ways of fishing is fishing topwater frogs. There's nothing that's better than watching a frog approach that opening in the lily pads and getting a blow up as soon as you hit that sweet spot. So topwater fishing is probably one of my favorite ways of fishing. But there are so many different types of topwater frogs in the market, so I wanted to kind of explore and show you my go-to frogs. So the frogs we're going to be taking a look at are the Spro Bronzeye 65, the Scum Frog Trophy Series, and the cheapo Supertrip topwater frogs. Alright, so one of the best topwater frogs in the market right now has to be the Spro Bronzeye 65. The quality of the plastic is just amazing. It's very durable. It can handle almost any type of fish, but also the Gamakatsu hooks on these frogs, they're very sharp and they're very sturdy, so they're going to really help you increase your chances of hooking into that fish. But the only problem with these frogs is the price tag. It's pretty pricey and it's about 12 bucks a frog. So another one of my favorite frogs has to be the Scum Frog Trophy Series. It comes in about $6 to $7, so it's in that mid-range area. So one of the reasons I really like this frog is because of the profile, and it seems to be a little bit wider. So when you're working this frog really slow, it tends to give a little bit bigger splash, a little bit bigger waves, and sometimes that's the key to catching fish. So one of the frogs that I use the most gotta be the Supertrip topwater frogs. The price for these just can't be beat. For $15.99, you can get 12 of these frogs. And for me, they still work the same as other frogs. They float on top of the water. You can cast far with them. But there's definitely some quality issues with them. The weights tend to come out sometimes. And the tails, legs kind of pull out every once in a while. So there's definitely quality issues, but I like to use these because where I fish, there's a lot of pikes out there. And there's nothing worse than throwing a $12 Spro and catching a 10-inch pike. And the next thing you know, your topwater frog is sinking. So these are really good frogs for the price. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and open these up and just kind of compare the profile, the weights, and the size. And just kind of see what the difference are between them and what makes them what they are. So opening them up, you can definitely tell these are all three different profile, different types of frog. They're all in their own sort of category. So starting with the Spro, it's definitely got tougher plastic. It seems a little thicker compared to the other two where the frog feels really hollow. Now comparing the tails, the legs, definitely the two more expensive options definitely have bigger legs compared to the cheaper option. Now one of the things that's a big must for me for topwater frogs is they have to be weighted. They have to have some sort of weight because I just hate throwing those weightless frogs and it's just barely staying on top of those lily pads. I want something that's going to be making some waves and really be halfway under the water and really make those big splashes. Also, it's nice to have those weight because you can make those extremely far casts. So the thing with the Spro and the Scum Frog is there's so many color variations, and one of my favorite things about topwater frogs is having a black one. As you can see, for some reason that shadow from underwater just seems to catch more fish. So that's the only major flaw with the Supertrip frogs. They're just all some generic colors and they're basically have a white belly. But don't get me wrong, they're still gonna catch fish. And one trick is you can actually just use a permanent marker and just paint it black. Alright, so taking a look at the profiles, there's one reason why I like the Scum Frog so much is because it's wider, it has a bigger head, and it has a wider body. So when you're working it slow, it makes those bigger waves. Now looking at the other two, they have very similar bodies, but the Spro is a little bit bigger and the belly is a little bit deeper. So it tends to sink in a little bit more and give you a little bit more action compared to the small Supertrip. Alright, so taking a look at the hooks, there's definitely some difference in quality for sure. Obviously the two more expensive ones have better hooks, but don't get me wrong, the Supertrip still has plenty of hook on it. But one thing about the Spro, and it's probably one of the reasons why it's so expensive, is the quality of the hook and how it's placed in there. You can see that it does not move at all, not compared to how the Scum frog moves. The hook can almost be flipped all the way around, and same with the Supertrip. Alright, so now that we kind of just taking a look at them straight out of the package, let's go ahead and hit the waters and kind of really see what the action difference is like. So when it comes down to top water fishing, sometimes the frog just doesn't matter. You just gotta get the frog in the right place at the right time. So that's why the frogs like the Supertrip is really nice. They're cheap, they're affordable, and they can do what these other frogs can do as well. But you don't have to be afraid of losing it to a pike and punching holes on this thing, because they're really easy to replace. Now, every once in a while, you gotta work a little quicker, and that's where the Spro shines. With its slender body, it tends to move really fast and smooth when you're doing those quick pops. Now, if you gotta go slow and steady, I definitely recommend the Scum frog, just because it makes those big waves and big splash when you're moving it across the water. So if I had to choose one, I definitely would choose the Scum frog. Just because the fishing style I like to work it slow and steady, because I tend to get a lot of better bites that way. Because whenever I work it too quick, I either miss the fish or the fish just completely whiffs on the frog. And that's why I like to work it slow. But anyways, all these frogs are really nice. They all have their purposes and they all work. So if you guys do have any questions on these, please feel free to let me know. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video. And if you guys can, please like and subscribe. Thank you guys.